wisdom, spirit of knowledge, counsel and might. There's never been a king that addressed the nations of the world in an assembly.
In that
only
manner.
one king do that, and have the authority and the power to do that.
Exactly. Glory to the King of Israel, right? Yeah, give thanks and praise to be here today. I give thanks.
Yeah, greetings. Welcome to our 134th anniversary of the birth of His Imperial Majesty. His Imperial Majesty Emperor Haile Selassie I, the Lion of the tribe of Judah, the Emperor of Ethiopia. He was born on 23rd of July, 1892. Many are celebrating this day, as you can see on social media, celebrating this birth in many ways, and how them see fit and how much they can express from what they understand of this birth. That is good, and because it still shows you that, you know, it's an issue that cannot be removed from the conscience and from the history of man. But being Amharic students as we are, and what we have learned from the king's language, Amharic, which is called Amharic, you know, we find we should add what we have learned, or share what we have learned with the wider community that celebrates this birth upon that day. Within that time, it's gone already, but I find it convenient now to actually meet together and to share, you know, our thoughts and opinions upon, and also what the facts of the history and the history of Ethiopia through her language, you know, which actually centers around her son, because he's called the child of Ethiopia, which is a title that goes straight to the book of Isaiah chapter 11, which tells you of the child that is to be born from that country and from that that woman. Woman is that nation. So we are going to emphasize on those 7 qualities that the book of Isaiah, in Isaiah, tells you, the Spirit of the Lord rests upon him, the Spirit of wisdom and understanding, the Spirit of knowledge and might, and of the fear of the Lord. The 7 characteristics which are expressed clearly in the language of having 7 vowels and 7 many other things. So before we start to introduce what we are going to talk about, I want to read from just a couple of maybe excerpts from an introductory part of the book called The Important Utterances of His Imperial Majesty Emperor Haile Selassie I from 1963 to 1972. It's focusing upon. But they wrote a preface in there, which I find go along with what we have here. This commemorative book contains some of the speeches of His Imperial Majesty Haile Selassie I. It is represented as a humble homage to His Majesty the Emperor, architect of modern Ethiopia, on his 80th birthday anniversary. From the beginning of his enlightened reign, some 50 years ago, it has been the unfailing habit of His Imperial Majesty to inspire the Ethiopian people through the spoken word to respond to his call for action in the interest of the nation. The theme which runs through all his speeches is that of a singular message to guide and encourage his nation to rise up to the challenges of the modern age. The speeches contained within this volume will help the reader to appreciate the history of Ethiopia since the beginning of the 2nd decade of this century, and some of the motivations that characterize the country under His Imperial Majesty's historic and universally respected compassionate interest in the problems of world peace, security and social justice. On this 80th birthday, then, anniversary of His Imperial Majesty the Emperor, the Ethiopian nation pays tribute to its greatest leader. This book of selected speeches is a humble token of the gratitude of the nation as it celebrates His Imperial Majesty's 80th birthday anniversary, a half-century of which has been marked by his selfless and dedicated service to the progress and welfare of his country. The unfolding of Ethiopia's internal progress, as reflected in these speeches, delineates clearly the dynamic leadership of the speaker. Since a comparatively early age, and particularly since November 2nd, 1930, when His Majesty the Emperor assumed the wondrous office of Head of State, a new plan of domestic activities emerged, and this plan has been vigorously pursued through the exertions of His Majesty the Emperor. I'll leave it at that for now. The Virgin will continue.
All right. Yeah. Thanks. That was a good introduction still. But I want to focus upon His Majesty's, the name that he had. He was given when he was born, which is the name Teferi. And that is where our name comes from. That is just part of it. Ras is another part. Doesn't mean head creator of himself. But His Majesty, from a time he came to Jamaica and he asked us to keep the history of Ethiopia. And it's a thing that he had asked black people on the whole, if I can use that term, from 1930 to keep that history. But every day I look, especially on the media sites, Ethiopia seems to be a place at a distance, and even by black people. they will celebrate the Battle of Adwa as Africa's greatest victory, which I don't agree with. Because how could a Christian people not recognize that salvation and at least forgiveness is the greatest of all victory? And you know, God bless Menelik II still, but he didn't forgive his enemy. Haile Selassie did. That is the greatest victory, not only for Africa and for us personally, but for the world. Because that is the teachings of Christ, the teachings of the New Testament. And he demonstrated that. And the reason why he could do that is the nature he was born with. So, as the Virgin was saying with Isaiah 11, I remember I was at an Ethiopian function. They were celebrating the Battle of Adwa. And this was the second one I went to. So I asked the dreaded question: when are we going to celebrate the Ethiopian Liberation Day of the 5th of May 1941, when Haile Selassie told everybody, all his enemies, to come and celebrate in the spirit of Christ? And I was told abruptly that they only deal with Menelik II to King Solomon. Yeah, and I felt a hurt in my belly still, and I went home and I made a sketch, which I later colored in. I made a pencil sketch of Isaiah 11, and what they told me, this represent here, if you're familiar with Isaiah 11 and the rotten out tree stump and the shoot that grows from it. So when they're telling me that they only deal with Menelik II to King Solomon, which is, that's it right here, that Isaiah described. But the new shoot, the Adis Bukaya, that grows from the rotten out, fungus-ridden tree stump, is the new king. In the Amharic, it tell you the new king, Adis Bukaya, Adis Negus, right? And what I found out, that the name Teferi, a lot of people we are called by that name with Ras Teferi. And the name Teferi is right there in Isaiah 11. And what I found out that through this Adis Bukaya, the name Teferi and the name of Jesus, which is Jesus in English, don't argue, Jesus in English, Jesus in Amharic, and Teferi have the same root meaning of Isaiah 11. So we're going to put up some of these. So the name Jesus, which is Yesu in Greek, Yesui in Arabic, Yeshui in Hebrew, and Jesus in English. That shouldn't be a problem, nothing to argue over. Tetsewu ho Amanuelin Yemesele. So Amanuelin Yemesele meaning one who resembles God. Emmanuel is the name, God with us, but Yemesele, one who resembles God. Yeah, so that shouldn't, when you teach these things honestly, it shouldn't be a problem. So if we know now that the Lion of Judah is Jesus Christ.
That's how the book opens.
So who does he resemble?
God.
These are the things that people and church wrestle with. But I, as a Rastafarian, my conscience is quite clear. The name Jesus, right? Yebeka, which means one who is godly, one who is holy, one who is self-sustained. This is why he is greater than Solomon. He comes from this dried out, rotten tree stump, which is the house of David. And he's the one who is going to renew it, right, in the 20th century. But the Virgin mentioned the 7 characteristics of the Lord. This is why when we learn his language, we also have to learn the alphabets. Because they match with, go 7 across. And the language is the Hebrew vowels, the Hebrew vernacular. The Hebrew is tu ulgize, Yeshi-Imebet, Kwa. The Hebrew vernacular, right? Vernacular means the everyday speech. It's spoken daily, nightly. Not as some people who have to learn it through religion, right? Those people. If it doesn't go 7 across, it's not Hebrew. And it have to end with the Christus Hoi. It have to end that way. Yeah, the 7th one. So, this child was born, and I just want you to bear with me, let me see. So this is the Davidic covenant that is to be renewed. And the person who was born from the shoot has this 7-fold spirit. And we read that the first one, Yeshi-Imebet Memphis Be'ersu Lai Yunoral. So the Spirit of the Lord shall rest upon him, which is indicated by the dove. And in Amharic, it's not only dwell on him, Yunoral also means a verb of presence. So he's present, not just dwelling, he's present, right? Number 2, we see Yetibedna Yumastawal Memphis, which is the spirit of understanding and wisdom. Yimikerna Haile Memphis, the spirit of counsel and might. Ye Iwuketna Exabihirin Yemeferat Memphis Yarefibetal. So, and the spirit of knowledge and of the fear of the Lord shall rest upon him. So, this one here, the fear of the Lord, is where the name Teferi comes from. And we know that because it is the 7th spiritual characteristic of the name of the Lion of Judah. Right? And we can see certain variations of it. Yemifrat Memphis, which is the spirit of reverence for God. It comes from the Amharic Feriha, which is the fear of God, pious, righteous person. Ferihat, one who revere, reverence for God, awe and fearful respect. Teferi, one who has the fear of the Lord. Okay, and the Meferi, Memphis, the Exab here, Mefera. So the name Teferi is one who has the fear of the Lord. And I, even though I'm called a Rastafarian, it's not because I have the fear of the Lord. It's because I believe him. That's why they call me a Rastaman.
By his name.
Yeah, but he is the one that has the fear of the Lord. The continuous reverence for God. He was born that way. That is the spirit of that. He alone has that. Just like the spirit of knowledge. I keep thinking about this. To have the spirit of knowledge. How deep is knowledge? There's all different faculties of knowledge. It didn't make a distinction here. It just said the spirit of knowledge. So that means this child, he knows all of this. He has the spirit of wisdom, of understanding, and counsel, and might.
And wisdom belongs to the Lord. And wisdom.
But the word here, Iwukit. Yeah, knowledge, know-how, the intelligence of God, the mind of God. We know because in that Amharic book that we found, there's this writing with him on Menelik when he was 10 years old. part of it I translated here. So, just hear this. Additionally, the freeborn child, Teferi, that's what Lidj means freeborn. It's the title of the house of Solomon. Yeah, this is a freeborn child, Lidj Teferi.
Child Teferi.
At the time he was at his father's palace in Harar, he was versed in the traditional court protocol in the order and procedures of the Solomonic nobility. And he also begins to learn modern education. And in learning about the Solomonic nobility, he learned the genealogies. He learned about the kings and royals in the course of their genealogy.
That's all. He get to trace back his genealogy to Adam.
Yeah. But again, that's one set when he was RR, but that's one sentence here. Again, it says at 10 years old, he began to be filled up, possessing the knowledge and of reading, special handwriting skill in Amharic and Geez. So that's the English translation. In Amharic, it looks like this. Gena be'aser hamit sai molachao. It began to be filled up. So in the Amharic, it has the infinite prefix to the letter ye, the infinite prefix for off. He possesses Amharic and he possesses his language. Reading and Zehifet Tenikekau. Aweku, he knew. Aweku is the variation of Yeshi-Imebet from Isaiah 11. The same thing. He knew, he had the knowledge, he was intelligent, bright as the morning star at 10 years old. So at 10 years old, if you notice in the difference in the sentence, the first one, he learned all of this in his father's house in Harar. But when it comes to the other sentence, when he began to be filled up, who you think filled him up? Who filled him up? It's not his father. They already did their part.
It's God.
Yeah, so he began to be filled up with all of this. Awake up. Ibuket Menfes. Yeah, Ibuketina, Igzia Beherin, Yemeferat. His name is right there. Yemeferat Menfes Yarefe Betal. That's what's rest upon him.
Spirit of the Lord.
That's what filled him up.
Spirit of the Lord.
When you possess something, you own it.
Own
He owns. Listen like it is.
it. In possession of it. Yeah, it's yours. It's his.
Well, who is not no priest never teach him this?
No,
I tell you that.
And it's the same thing.
And that go, I don't mean to cut it, but that goes in line with Aleph, the first letter.
Yeah.
Right? Aleph
Right,
means, Aleph is actually the Spirit of the Lord
Yeah, there it
that
is.
rests upon him. And out of that seven more spirits, like the branches there, it shoots out. It shoots out 6 more along with that to make it the full 7. That's explained in the letters. That's what the letters are. As them tell us, say this, the 22 letters, them is the body of a man. That man
And
was
his
born,
name.
who was born there.
And
So-
you never have to learn.
And
It's
grew
the
from a
same thing
child.
like the first Advent. He never learned. He knew.
I'm glad you
It's
mentioned
the
that.
same.
Right.
You know, just the
Same
pattern.
thing, parallel
the
of
same
it.
thing.
When they
happened.
church
First
they never
Advent
rest
and now second
And the
Advent.
second Advent.
So that would
he-
mark both of them.
Exactly, balance.
Yeah,
It's
first
Yeah,
and second.
when in the first, as you mentioned, when
Yeah.
baby Jesus went to school,
Exactly.
they sent him to a rabbi down the road.
Exactly.
And when the class starts, as the rabbi I asked him
Yeah.
about the first letter of the alphabet,
Yeah.
baby Jesus asked him to explain the meaning of the first letter of the alphabet.
Right.
The first letter, why is it shaped that way? And don't make nobody fool. This is the first of all letters, the head. This one here, which I painted in gold. This is the first one. And it also means the Trinity. Aleph means Trinity. Father, Son, Holy Spirit.
Yeah.
It means Jesus. Yeah,
So-
Alpha.
So that spirit upon him, the is there.
Yeah, there it is. So it's the same thing as Yeshi-Imebet. Yeah, the same root. This is why I don't go to church. They're not telling you all of this. These are the things where God have given you understanding and things. You can find out these things for yourself instead of sitting in front of priests who are going to run you through the same old sold story of Jesus. It's a selling point for them because they're not going to tell you all of this. And Isaiah 11. And the fact that the root of here is the same as here.
So then, then when it's like when he want you to have that knowledge of him.
Yeah.
Even when he did bless the 10, if you go and see the priest, and one return, him asks, where are the other 9? Because they were supposed to give him thanks for what? Because it wasn't the priest who cleansed them, it was him who cleansed them.
Right.
But those 9 gone off thinking it was the giving that
Yeah.
praise to the priest, but one recognized, no,
Yes.
I have to go back and tell this man thanks. So to show that he wants you also to know where that blessing is coming from. He did ask, then where was the 9? If it wasn't so, then he wouldn't ask.
And it's a good point you made.
Right.
He sent them to the priest
Right.
to tell them what was taking place out here. So everything is not with the priest.
Right.
No.
That's them who need to go there and tell them what is going on out here with the Lord.
But if the Lion of Judah is not the priest,
Right, so that is-
go and tell you either. Can say go testify these things in the church. Not the priest testify to the congregation, but the angel of the Lord.
Right, so the people can know for themselves
Right.
without the priest. You
Yeah,
don't,
that's
you don't
right.
need the priest to know. That's the point you're trying to make.
Yeah.
Not to take anyone from them place, because everyone have a place.
But he himself
Right.
said it in Ethiopia.
But then where do you really get this knowledge from? Where do the knowledge of the Bible comes from, or the understanding of it? Is it not from the Lord?
Yes, and it's
It
like
is.
this.
Right, and as it's explaining here with the child and the Memphis Kudus and the spirit of the Lord that rests upon him. You know, that's just not any spirit. That's the same spirit that teaches us
Spirit
all.
of the Lord.
Well, that's why I'm saying.
But it
because
rests upon him.
A new translation where the old and young spoke and understood that man, understood and spoke that man should read and find truth. for
Right,
himself.
read.
Yeah.
Right?
So read the Bible for
right.
yourself to find the truth.
But this takes honesty.
Right.
It does.
Because this is the history now that people want to cause controversy. But when we read in our prayer books and we read and look at this illustration that St. Mark did, St. Marcus, the Gospel of Mark, yeah, this is the illustration he did. It says it up here. Yeah, and it's supposed to be sacred to Ethiopia and Ethiopians and all that. This deals, he's portraying here the resurrection of Jesus Christ when he gave the name. And we find that in the Ethiopian prayer book, the Saturday Sabbath prayer, Yeshi-Imebet Selassie, right? They all begin, there's the 7 Amharic prayers in the book that begins with the name that he gave
Yes.
after his resurrection from the dead.
Father, Son, and Holy Spirit.
Yeah. And Amlak bemihon be ab bewuldi bemenfis hilusim amnalahu beiwunet amen. Right. So the 16th verse. Lenya kebri mingistun yagwenatse fenzendi yihiwid aklil yorasworik medihani yakidajnie zendi be rasulai ye ishof aklil lede kedaje ye melekot fikr selam ilalehu. So he that was crowned, is it St. Mark put the crown of thorns. He that was crowned with the crown of thorns is he that wears
Crown of life.
the crown of life.
Golden crown of
Victory.
life,
Yeah, the Ras Makonnen, yeah, the
salvation.
golden crown of life,
Yeah.
salvation and victory.
Victory,
There it is.
And that means it's two events happening here. So if the second one didn't happen, they couldn't say the first, he who wear the crown of thorn is he who wear the crown of gold of life and salvation. That means it happened while they state it like that.
Yeah, because this happened already.
Right, right.
And we see the resurrection is explained. And St. Mark, you know,
Yeah, that's a good point, Moses. Because it says that he who was crowned
With the crown
is
of-
now
with the
crowned
crown
with,
the gold crown
is
of-
now,
right,
is now crowned with the,
Right,
yeah, that is the Saturday one, eh?
right.
It's two of those prayers in the
Then I was reading it too.
the Ehud Sefer Selassie. It tells you that again. Lehi witna le medihanit yemi hon ye ashina finet in rasburik agedajini. I was crowned with the golden crown for life, salvation, to exist in the state of victory. Yeah, two of those 7 prayers tell you this. Yet still, church people, they can't recognize this. Where you see dead here,
Right.
show me in the language where you see dead here. I'm going with all of that. Lion of Judah is the living God, because we can see from the tabernacle. Is the reason why them bring up the dead thing is for try to stop you in your tracks.
Right,
But
right.
we now know that they didn't read Exodus 25.
Right.
This is the heraldry of the king.
King. Yeah.
Yeah, here's his heraldry. The Bible is open in glory,
Right.
and it have Alpha,
Right,
Omega
right, the beginning
over
and the
it,
end. Mhm.
and it have Ethiopia tablets around the Ark of the
Right.
Throne,
Psalms 31.
and it have conquering lion of the tribe of Judah here, and we have Michael and Gabriel. But the fact that Michael have the scale of justice and the sword of punishment, we know says a judgment day issue.
Yeah, sure.
Because this is the child grow up to be. There.
So his throne open with Revelation 1.
Yeah.
The book of Revelation,
Yeah,
the
chapter
throne
1.
room is open at the top of the throne is
Yeah.
Alpha and Omega, the Revelation 1.
right.
And he was crowned. This is 1927. September. Mescal. He was crowned in Axum under the sign of the miracle of the cross in 1927. They can't deal with all of this. 1927 and then 1930 with Ethiopia. Yeah, with Ethiopia.
Well, it's to show you him how far back the throne time said I throne, oh Lord, is from forever and ever, from everlasting. So from the beginning of time, because Moses, that was an example of what Moses built the Ark of the Covenant. So he must build it according to the pattern that he saw in the mount,
Yeah, which is this?
which is the throne.
Here it is right
Yeah,
here.
with Michael and Gabriel.
Yeah. And we see here we see His Majesty dressed in white, carrying Moses' rod. An Ethiopian told me, he gave me a photograph with His Majesty, and he told me that's Moses' rod. So this is this one here, right here, and this is some religious function.
Okay.
Yeah, that's Moses' rod, and we see him here in the coronation vestments, dipped in blood, pops with the golden girdle. See all of that?
It's accurate, man. On the Lord
Of course.
perform such accuracy, man.
And we see here with Ethiopia tablets, where the brethren was explaining, or even on the video there. Yeah, the dove coming down, and this is the kingship.
Right.
This is the salvation. This is the first advent. This is the second advent. This is in the Ethiopian dictionary, which we are encouraging not only for our people, but on the African continent. They need to study the language of Ethiopia. I need to hear the Africans them call Ethiopia mother. I've only heard 2 of them.
Right.
Yeah, and they need to call her mother. Look at the confusion. Mother had built them the Organization of African Unity, which this child is the founder of it. Yeah, he grew up to, because that was his aspiration from early childhood,
Yeah, to become the elder statesman of Africa.
and to unite the continent.
They said that.
father and unifier of Africa.
Africa.
But when me look out there, people are going like, say, this history and this unifier do not exist. And this is where we're going to have problems. A whole lot of problems.
But it is written in the law or constitution that the government of the line of Judah is a perpetual government, which is a continuous government. Has no end.
The things of Haile Selassie that we and you and all of us study in the language all show his divinity. People who have not read it, they should not comment, they should learn. We want you to learn.
Even again, tell you this man that did stand up in the hall of Pilatus is this man now. The same man now is the same man that was in that. In the
Saturday prayer.
Yeah, it's in the prayer.
Yeah.
The Saturday prayer.
Yeah,
The same man who ride up, who have to sit up on the cherubims, is this man who ride up on the back of the donkey.
Pilatus?
Pilate.
Yeah, the Roman.
Right, the Roman Pilate.
Pilate.
So him real, right?
Right.
Because him in Roman history.
Right.
Right. So naturally the other man we're talking about is real as well.
Who is real as well, man.
Every detective know that the photo evidence, every investigator know the photo evidence. This is photograph. This is illustrated. This is his heraldry. If you understand what a heraldry is, it shows two ancestors here. One is heavenly, celestial, and the other one is from the line of David. So two of them it show you right in here. And I know now that a lot of people didn't read Exodus 25. Because here we have the St. George's, the dragon slayer here. Yeah. And I say,
Chief
the Ethiopian church, they were showing you the old St. George, would be like the cross which Lale Bill had built. Yeah, that's all good and dandy. But this one here, he wears it on his crown.
On his garments.
Because he is the dragon slayer.
Right.
And it's the Holy Trinity helped St. George in the first place.
Right.
While Lalabella could even build those 13 churches. There are 13 of them according to the apostles on Jesus Christ. Right? So we need clarification, when they're talking about Teferi. Having the fear of the Lord. And come clean with his identity.
Right. We can speak of the wonders and the lordship of him, which mind,
No, why would you want to hide such a child that was raised amongst you? And that is clear to see, that is he who set the modern way of your living the way it is today. It's clear to see that. You don't have to go wrestle with no one with that. His Majesty's modern Ethiopia. What wasn't there before him, you see it there now because of him. Mm-hmm. Why would you want to remove that history from your language?
Well, as I was saying, Bridget, the alphabets are important because it tells you here Mezgebe Fidel. So you Gizna Yamarinya Kwankwa Mekifecha. So that is the key. The letters, they are the key. The language is the key. Amharic and that which the child had mastered. And that is the key. So he is the key of David. Mm-hmm. Not some guy with his church ministry. He is the key. They don't have the key.
To open up the knowledge and the history and all that you know about Ethiopia.
Right.
And what you don't know as well, that you would read if you...
And to reinforce that factor, we found the Seife Melokot, which is the divine sword, as it applied to His Majesty. And we found in part of it, and we're going to put them up so I can read them. And this is with her Seife Selassie. This is correspond to the book of Revelation, 1 verse 16. From out of his mouth, Keafu Bemi Weta, Yeisat Seif, Yetilat in Wetmed, Ashekala, mi korareti be melakote abu wuldi women peskidus iman sennalahu. So it gives you the alphabets: Aleph, Bet, Gamel, Dalet, Hey, Wow, Zai, Het, Tet, Yod. It gives you all of them until Tau. But then it says, Bemi Baal. He is named. Who is named that? The Lord. The letters of the alphabet, the 22 letters, is his name. He is named, he is called, and then it gives you the smaller one, Be Abewuldi, the Memphis Kilusin. His name, Ya Menko, Betu Amlaki Hoi. So this is a prayer to ask for his intercession and for him to be near, right? Because he's the one who has the strength to defeat Yitila and the enemy Satan. So you have to know the alphabets. And people who are talking about, you know, have to learn Amharic, them guy there on a rascal.
And to show you that that was him.
Fool.
Those 22 alphabets are him. Right?
It's his name.
That's what gave him the ability to be able to give Ethiopians a Bible for them to be able to read for the first time.
Yeah, like this.
For themselves. Because before, they listen to the mass of the priest and they get their learning that way. That's the tradition. That's the traditional way. Right? How they kept the Christian faith. That's all fine. But then it comes into a modern time when it is increased. And it is clear to see the abundance of knowledge. Well, it's written down there in the universities of the world, that which came with him. Because before they did not know, and then when he comes, they know. That's why the Cambridge can say, you know, the greater than Solomon is here. The wiser than the kings of the east is here. Coming rooted from that child.
Imagine that, yeah?
But he said when he come, he would remind us of
Former things.
former things.
Which, they didn't know all of this before. When he was, you see, they didn't, none of them have the key to open.
Right, to open the learning.
And Amharic.
To open that.
He's the one who has the key. Because it tells you in Isaiah 11. He has the sevenfold spirit, he has the key. He's a AAA Amharic student. Yeah, we name him that. AAA, triple Aleph. Abu Lemen Feskitus. Can't argue with that. You have to be honest. At 10-year-old, he knew all of that. But what were you learning at 10? Try and remember, because I think about it and I said, let me go back and look, what was I doing at 10? Nothing constructive, really.
No.
Yeah, just playing around and all of that. It wasn't really, and doing your little chores, what them tell you. But at 10, nobody in Ethiopia knew or possessed it. It's not the priests them fill him up. It's not them fill him up, because I read that when he was smaller, a priest come talk to him and asked him a couple questions and went away white as snow. Shock.
Yeah, because you read from the from the language studying Amharic, it teaches you that those 22 alphabets are called Alephats. Those 22 alphabet there, from Aleph to Tau, which represents the body of that man, of that man. Right? It tells you that just lost my train of thought.
I know.
Well, that is the one.
Yeah, it tells you that it represents the 22 beauties of the creation.
Yeah.
Right? So you're getting to see a view of what that child knew at 10 years old, being full with that, having that fill up in him, opening up his mind and opening up his intelligence. That the child can see all that and understand all that. Because it's a process he's going through as well. Because he's growing from a child to man. And he has at 10 years old, this is the state he reached at 10 years old.
The man child.
Yeah.
10-year-old. And you know, as we're talking this, think about it. What were you learning at 10? and compare it to 10-year-old Teferi.
Yeah.
And you'll see a wide gap between him and man. A very wide gap. That's why he grew up to be Ethiopia's first Minister of Education. Well qualified.
Yeah, the track record shows you.
Yeah.
It shows you. It verifies what you're seeing about the child here. Because look at what he became.
The priest and
Yeah, to
prophet
become the brightest child of Ethiopia.
Yeah.
And I'm glad he built a school in Jamaica.
Yeah. Oh,
Because that's the extension of what he learned there. It's just so them not realize that yet. Them still they're behind time. They should have had Amharic in that school and tell you about the person who donated this school.
Donate the school, yeah.
Yeah, the reason why they don't want to say that because they're afraid everybody will turn Rasta.
Right.
Within
That's
the-
why the Ethiopian, they don't talk about him. The Ethiopian, they might see him.
Yeah, so who must talk about it then?
Yeah, they
If
don't
you as
talk
they said,
about him.
nobody. And I see it out there.
Yeah.
Right.
The other day, them all are meeting in Ghana to deal with Pan-Africanism, and they start with the Battle of Adwa. And then
Yeah,
jump to
I
Kwame
noticed
Nkrumah.
that as well.
Really?
Yeah, and them, I mean,
Yeah, and come on, where did they get their inspiration? Who was upon the forefront of the battle?
But how did Ghana get the red, gold,
Exactly.
and
Well,
green?
that's what I say. Who was upon the they even
it's
said that.
colors.
Who was upon the forefront of the battle, leading the African continent to its independence? Ethiopia.
Yeah.
She's the one to first pay the price.
But
And she's the
Not
first.
just Ethiopia,
and she-
Christian Ethiopia.
Yes.
It's because of that why black people don't want to embrace
But
her.
him start the battle because after him lose that battle at that with them over there with them guns and teams, and him start a new battle, a political battle.
Yeah.
When he went down to into Europe there, so I mean, no, if you take a good analysis of His Majesty, man, then you will come up with a clear conscience, as the legend say, if you have a clear conscience.
We just want to remind still that his name is on the cross. Yeah, I put it there so we can easily read it. His name is on the cross. O Igzi Jesus Christus Zete Sekelin Kedebi Zintu Meskel Iger Rere Sero Tati Igrihu. Negus. He said Jesus Christ was hanged on the cross and crucified. Right? So he's going to reign. He was anointed to reign with man. And the host of heaven. Negus Haile Selassie. Yeah, this cross here. Yeah. And this picture here by St. Mark. That's why, when, people in Ethiopia hold this on. So how come they don't have this St. Mark picture? If it's sacred, how come them don't have this in the church?
Where did it
Or in your whole, you don't expect Jamaicans to have this. They're terrified of locks.
Right.
So them prefer white Jesus, which is more tailored for them than having this with them deemed dirty Rasta.
But Jesus, in his first advent, he had locks.
Then that it tell you.
So
Well,
how they
so why did St.
praising
Mark
him? I know.
illustrated just like that?
Yeah. And that's
There's the locks. He's on the cross with the locks. It's all there.
And that's what made locks holy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
Numbers chapter 6.
Yeah.
Verse 1
He
to
was a
7.
Nazareth.
Yeah, the Nazarite is the king.
Yes, separated.
Yeah.
to
And
God.
he gave Moses to tell the children of Israel whether man or woman
Yeah.
separate themselves. No, no.
Freely.
Yeah, because
Freely, right?
yeah.
You're right, you see it there, and they didn't have to go through the priesthood.
Right.
You understand?
Right.
They didn't have to go through the priesthood to do that.
Right. So,
The priesthood was
right.
there, but they didn't have to do that.
That was definitely
That's a
for
free,
the
a
Lord
free will.
purpose.
Yeah, that's a give them a free will.
Right,
Them
so
can-
that's what
them can do
Rastaman
that.
really need to do is to declare the Lord. That's the whole purpose.
Yes, isn't that what we're doing? And some people want to tell we don't do it.
Right,
Coming from there.
right.
Well, first up, let me say all the controversy, and a guy who dress up like him an Egyptian can't tell me nothing about Rasta. Can never. Go sit down.
I really
You know, see?
Rastafari, those that are called by his name.
If them probably down Jamaica, but them not familiar with Jamaican culture and music, who always say go down Egypt, go down Pharaoh,
Yeah.
mash down Babylon, mash up Egypt. The young Delroy Wilson sang the song King Pharaoh Go Down. That's Jamaican.
Yeah,
We're not Egyptians.
it's true.
We were born to praise the Lord.
Yeah.
We're the people who sing the songs of Israel. All the songs them we're singing of the world
Yes,
about the children of Israel. Those are Jamaican
Yes,
songs.
man.
They're not Egyptian songs or African songs.
Israel vibration.
And it's time a guy, because we're not born upon the island, for respect our culture and our music. 'Cause that's where the message is.
It is, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, you will have a record label named Teferi.
Right.
Yeah, so, you know, guys, we must sit down. The name Teferi, he was born.
Very biblical. Everything about him is biblical.
It's biblical.
And Christian.
They cannot find another man with
Like
so
him.
much biblical.
And biblical is Christian.
Yes,
Christian, yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
I want them to show me, as Bob said, show me the guy and make the guy come forward who can declare then and explain somebody who can be likened unto the Lord. You know, I mean, bring the guy come with them evidence. You know, as the Lord said, make them come, make them bring them evidence and come. Let them tell you a farmer things and things to come. You know, it's His Majesty, man.
Yeah. And for his part, he glories in the Bible. That's not hard to understand. This is why I know that people not honest.
Right.
Because he says that he has this personal experience in the goodness of the Bible. No, when we read that, when I read that, I said, well, I don't have a personal experience in the goodness of the Bible. So neither does anybody else.
That's why Him calls us to share. Him calls us to share in it, like Him cook the food and the food not belongs to us. Him say, come have a part of it.
Yeah, to share it.
To share in it.
It's great blessing.
You know,
but they won't be honest.
No, they won't be honest.
He's the only one that has a personal experience in the goodness of the Bible. And if you don't know what it is, or me or a boy I talk about, you know, who write the Bible? That means he can't read, because every book tell you it was written by Isaiah, Jeremiah.
Yeah.
Ezekiel,
Different
Yeah, every book tell you that.
It's different authors.
So you see the disease of illiteracy that is among our
I know
people
one
need to
man
be
right.
erased.
Yeah, if him can't read, he should ask someone who can read to read
Right,
it
and
for him.
destroy
Yeah.
the people comes for lack of knowledge.
Yeah.
Our
These
man
people are
write the
destroyed.
Bible, they don't need to write
People are
it, you know.
destroyed.
And that was from the prophet Hosea.
And His Majesty said, he repeat it and actually now say it, that Africans are destroyed.
They will not see it, Virgin.
Christ say it too, and then He came and said,
Can come say it again
Right.
the second time.
you
You
know,
see, the organization of African unity that he had founded, established, and built with his own money, them not mash it up.
Yeah.
And now look at them, cursing each other, wanna kill each other. The tribal pitfall.
Petty.
and he warned them about it too.
Exactly.
The tribal
Petty
pitfall.
pitfall.
And that's what he
Careful of
was
the tribe.
trying to abolish,
Yeah.
like the tribalism. There's too much tribalism.
And they won't acknowledge him as the founder and father of
No,
African
they don't.
unity.
They don't.
It's his continent. The continent, no name no Hugo Bugu land. It's Africa in name.
Africa.
If you had read the Bible carefully, or in Amharic, you would see.
And in that day, the wolf and the lamb will lie down together, and the leopard and the goat shall be at peace. Calves and fat cattle shall be safe amongst lions, and the little child shall lead them on. The cows will graze among the bears, cubs and calves will lie down together. The lion will eat grass like the cows,
Selassie. Kaafu በሚወጣ በኢሳት ሰይፍ የጠላትን ወጥመድ ሽቀላ የሚቆራርጥ በመለኮት አብ ወበመንፈስ ቅዱስ ማጽናለሁ። አሊፍ ቤት ጋሜል ዳሌት ሂ ዋው ዛይ ሂት ጢድ ዮሊት ካፍ ላሚር ሚም ኖን ሳብጌድ ኢፍ ኢት ጸዲቅ ቁፍ የሰንዳው የሚባሉ በአብ ወልድ በመንፈስ ቅዱስም ያመልኩ። አቤቱ አምላኬ ሆይ ልመናዬ ወደ አንተ ትቀርብ ዘንድ እማጸናለሁ።